Ukraine, all women, children and elderly out of steel plant.
Here's a summary of the article.
Russian forces fired cruise missiles at the southern Ukrainian city of Odessa on Saturday and bombarded a steel mill in Mariupol housing Ukrainian civilians and fighters, hoping to complete their conquest of the port city in time for Victory Day celebrations. In a sign of the unexpectedly effective defense that has sustained the fighting into its 11th week, Ukraine's military flattened Russian positions on a Black Sea island that was captured in the war's first days and has become a symbol of Ukrainian resistance. Western military analysts said a Ukrainian counteroffensive also was advancing around the nation's second-largest city, Kharkiv, even as it remained a key target of Russian shelling. The image corresponds with a Ukrainian military video showing a drone striking the Russian vessel, engulfing it in flames. Snake Island, located some 35 kilometers off the coast, figured in a memorable incident early in the war when Ukrainian border guards stationed there defied Russian orders to surrender, purportedly using colorful language. Already Russian forces had probed the plant and even reached into its warren of tunnels, according to Ukrainian officials. As an indication of his importance to Ukraine's cultural heritage, Skovoroda's likeness adorns a Ukrainian banknote.
This post received a score of 16,000, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
I'll take a bit of good news, and wish them the best going forward. You goddamn right.
Great news. Unfortunately they're going to likely have lifetime PTSD from the horrors they were subjugated to over the last 2 months, but it's still better than the alternative. I hope they can find some peace and happiness going forward.
Possibly, but they also have a social group atmosphere which they can hopefully heal off one another. And fuck Putin.
20 years from now, not a very long time, these survivors will be documented, whether by 60 Minutes or the equivalent of Ken Burns. And for those of us alive still and not long forgotten, we'll witness their legacy. Some will flutter, some will fail. Some will carry the burden of history. Some will cry at that time in their future for a world to see. Some will sow seeds of triumph and pain. All will share with steely resolve that which we as a whole shall once again never forget.
Stronger than steel, Ukrainian. Wonder what happens to young men then.
Executed or drafted into RU army.
If Napoleon taught us anything, then the last bit is probably a bad idea. Almost as bad as evacuating a fuckload of angry Ukrainians into already fucked up Russia.
I doubt they are treated like normal soldiers. I would venture to bet they send them into particularly dangerous situations, and treat them much more expendably. I honestly thought it was in poor taste when Ukraine offered the same to their prisoners.
Greater than I would venture to bet they send them into particularly dangerous situations, and treat them much more expendably. Short of actually using them as human shields, I don't know how much different that is from the 15,000 conscripts they already killed.
I don't disagree, and I question how voluntary the service of the conscripts actually is. Obviously not the ones they kidnapped.
How many fighters are left inside though? I feel so sorry for those guys having to endure it all.
Is there anyone left in Mariupol? If the city is completely destroyed, were the refugees in the steel plant the only people left? From what I've seen, there are people in the city proper still, not many, but since that area was not recently where the Ukrainian defenders were, it was essentially surrendered to Russia already. This holdout factory area is really the last spot where there's fighting.
Yay, very few people left there now. Not much of a boast by Russia to say they have taken a city, which is now a ruin.
Yeah, very sad. However, I don't think Russia cares much. They more want Ukraine not to have it than themselves to have it. They want to cut Ukraine off from the Black Sea and have their territory stretched to Moldova.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.